skill development.
I have switched over the topics. I have already discussed about skill development in the context of NEP 2020, and the second part of discussion is going to be on higher education and society. So before we start with the second session, so like we discussed in the previous as well, that life skill development, it has got benefits for the individual, it has got benefits for the employment as well, because life skills ultimately, slowly and gradually, they will get translated into the employability skills among the learners. So next part of discussion, the second part, that is going to be on higher education and society. Give me a minute, I'll just start with the PowerPoint presentation. Till what time do you have your sessions? Till 5?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have time till 5, right? So I'm sharing the screen. I hope the screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the second part of discussion that we have today is higher education and society. So we all are the product of higher education system in India. Previously, we used to be on the student side. Now we are the teachers in higher education. So we have been the stakeholders. We have been on the recipient end. Now we are on the other side, on the giving end. So higher education and society, we all know higher education plays a very important role in shaping the future of the individuals and societies, the future of our nation. It depends on the kind of higher education we are providing to the students, the kind of higher education system that is in place in colleges and universities, that determines the future of the individual, future of the youngsters, and that determines the future of our nation as well. So nowadays, it's not the traditional function of imparting knowledge. Higher education institution, they are the catalyst of social, economic, and cultural development as well. So it is not just transmitting the knowledge. Higher education institutions, they are playing that role. It is beyond that. They are acting as a catalytical. They are playing a catalytical role for all-round development, for social, economic, and cultural development. So higher education has a multifaceted impact on society, and it helps in fostering innovation, promoting the social mobility, and addressing various types of global challenges that have come in because of the LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, because of the various types of economic reforms. So let us discuss the relationship, I would say the mutual kind of relationship, or the bilateral relationship between higher education and society. So if we talk about the evolution of higher education system in India, how it came into vogue, there are several key milestones and significant changes that has taken place over the years. Initially, when we talk about the ancient times, we had ancient education system. Even then, our rich educational heritage, this was quite known in terms of the ancient institutions like Nalanda and Takshila, and these were the centers of learning, and it used to these institutions, they used to attract scholars from the various parts of the world. So we had those pioneering institutions like Nalanda and Takshila with us even in the ancient times. So we have that rich legacy of having these such milestones and such important institutions even way back in the ancient times. So we have that rich educational heritage which dates back to the ancient times. Then comes the colonial influence, the British period. The British colonial period, we all know, during that period, many universities on the British system, on the British pattern, they were established in India, to name University of Calcutta and University of Bombay, which were established in 1857. And this was the era which laid the foundation for a formalized higher education system. So the higher education system became in a formal setup, came in a formal setup in the year 1857, when University of Calcutta and University of Bombay, they were established. And these universities, they followed the model of the British system. So that was the colonial influence, or the British colonial influence on higher education system in India, that started in the year 1857. So that was the colonial influence. Moving on further, there have been post-independence reforms. So after independence in 1947, many commissions and committees, they came up with the different wide range of recommendations. They had recommendations for the school education, for the secondary education, for the vocational education, for higher education, for teacher education, to name a few. So after independence, India prioritized educational reforms in the context of the Indian education system. And during those educational reforms, University Grants Commission, UGC, this was established in 1956 to act as a governing body for higher education. Several new universities, they were established, and UGC was the regulatory body for all the higher education institutions. Then further, the higher education system, this expanded, and further diversification this took place from 1960 to 1980. And there has been a significant expansion. There has been significant rise in number of higher education institutions across the country from the year 1960 to 1980. Many new universities, new higher education institutions, colleges, they were established, and there has been a focus on diversifying the academic disciplines. So a wide range of academic disciplines, they were diversified, and many new colleges and universities, they were established, leading to expansion of higher education from the year 1960 to 1980. Then 1990 onwards comes the period of economic reforms and globalization. So this was the era of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So economic reforms in 1990s, they significantly influenced higher education system in India. So globalization, this led to cross-border movement. It led to collaborations, international exchange programs, and introduction of professional courses to align education with emerging economic needs. So whatever was the skill demand in 90s, corresponding to that, many professional courses, they were introduced, and many new courses, they were started across the country in the year 1990 onwards, as per the economic needs of those times. Then introduction to autonomy and accreditation. Again, autonomy is the watchword when it comes to the universities, when it comes to the higher education institutions. Autonomy was granted to certain universities and colleges, allowing them greater flexibility in academic matters. So autonomy comes with a responsibility, so that the institutions, they can become more flexible, they can be more autonomous in their academic matters. So autonomy was granted to certain good quality higher education institutions, the universities and the colleges. Then accreditation agencies like the National Board of Accreditation, they were established to ensure the quality standards. So whenever we talk about expansion, so expansion always leads to the deterioration of the quality. So in order to maintain the quality standards, National Board of Accreditation was established as an accreditation agency so as to ensure the quality standards in professional and other academic institutions. Then 2000 onwards, 2000, the millennium year, the information technology boom came up. So 2000 onwards, there has been a great surge in information technology, influencing higher education with the e-learning platforms, online courses, digital devices, digital resources. So this was the period where there has been a major shift towards the technology enhanced education, technology driven education, or technology enabled education. So 2000 onwards, there has been an impetus to digital education, digital resources, and the same impetus has been there. The same emphasis has been there in NEP 2020 also towards the digitalization of education whenever and wherever possible. Then comes the emphasis on research and innovation. Then further, there has been an increased emphasis, even right now, in research and innovation in the recent years. So higher education institutions, they are focusing on capacity building towards research, building research capabilities, fostering innovation, and encouraging collaboration with industries. So why is it important to collaborate with the industries? So that the expectations of the industry, they are known to academia, and academia can restructure the education system as per the demands of the industry. So that encouraging such type of collaboration, that will definitely help in bridging the employability gap and in bridging the skill gap that is possessed by the students and the one which is expected from the industry. So nowadays there has been much focus, much impetus on research orientation, on capacity building regarding research, then fostering innovation among the learners, and carrying out collaborative research and collaborative work with the industries. So then many skill development initiatives, as we know, they have came up. So recognizing the importance of aligning education with employability, skill development initiatives, they have gained prominence. So in the last session, we focused on skill development. We focused on the employability skills, the 21st century skills, and the life skills as well. So government has come up with many skill development initiatives which gave a kind of impetus to the vocationalization of education. So these courses you can do after +2, you can do after graduation. These are short-term courses, kind of vocational courses. You can develop certain skills with the help of these skill development courses, and you can get into some suitable kind of employment. So these vocational courses and different type of partnerships with the industry, they aim to bridge the gap between education and the job market. So in the last session, I was just talking about that there is a skill gap, there is skill deficit. The expectations of the job market, the expectation of the employer or the industry, they are quite high. And the students, they are lacking the requisite employability skills. So in order to bridge that gap, these vocational courses and the partnerships with the industry, they play a very important role, and they help in enhancing the employability among the youth. So thereby we are able to tackle the issue of unemployability in youth if we focus upon such type of partnerships and we focus on such type of skill based courses. Then comes the present era, the era of NEP 2020, which is an era of challenges and reforms which have been recommended by NEP 2020. So here the ongoing challenges are like funding, then quality of higher education which is being provided, the access, equity. These are the issues and challenges in the present regime, in the present era. And these efforts are being made to address these challenges through the policy reforms. So NEP suggests, like in the first session, in the very start itself, I focused on certain salient features of NEP 2020. So those salient features, when they are to be such implementation is to be done in letter and spirit. So ultimately, this will lead to many reforms, policy reforms in higher education system, in the school education system as well, or education system as a whole. And it is also going to create certain challenges also related to funding, the equity, quality, inclusivity, and access in higher education as well. So, if we talk about the higher education system, what are the expectations from higher education system or higher education institutions by the society? So, society expects the higher education institutions to be a hub of knowledge creation and innovation. So higher education institutions, they are hubs of knowledge creation and knowledge dissemination also. So here lots of research is being done, lots of innovation is being carried out. And the universities or the higher education institutions, they are trying to contribute their bit towards the creation of new knowledge, towards the developing the human understanding of the concepts of the phenomena around us, and of course the technological progress also. Similarly, the collaboration between academia and industry, this leads to groundbreaking discoveries, and it helps in bringing about technological innovations and various types of advancements also. So academia and industry, they collaborate together to develop something new, to bring out something new, to discover something new. And the societies, as they are becoming increasingly reliant on knowledge based economies, role of higher education in driving innovation, this becomes very, very important. So higher education system is the one where we are trying to promote innovation, where we are trying to develop innovative capability among the learners. Then social mobility and economic development. We all know access to higher education, it has the potential to break the cycle of poverty. So higher education, why do we get into higher education? Can anybody tell? Why do we get into higher education? Any student or you or me? What is the focus? So higher education system, it helps us to get into better job, to get into better job opportunities, becoming economically independent, financially independent, and break the cycle of poverty and promote social mobility. So we are moving from this place to that place because of the jobs. People are moving from villages to the cities, from the smaller cities, people are moving to the metros. So there has been a vertical social mobility that way. So by providing individuals with the skills and knowledge necessary for professional success, higher education enables us upward mobility. It reduces socioeconomic disparities, right? So when you have that skill and knowledge which is needed to be a good professional, you have that skill set, you have that basic knowledge, you have that basic degree. So it obviously it enhances your self confidence, and it also helps in the social mobility, it helps in the vertical mobility, and it also helps in reducing the socio-economic disparities as well. So socio-economic disparities or the differences in the population, they are decreasing as a result of higher education system. So when we have skilled workforce, when we have well educated workforce, those who are able to contribute towards the course of economic development of the country, the process of national development of the country. So ultimately, this will result in fostering the economic growth and development of the society, economic growth and development of the country as well. So well-educated workforce. Moreover, the skilled workforce is what is required for bringing the economic change, for bringing the economic growth and development. And higher education, of course, it helps in this vertical social mobility, and it helps in bringing about this economic growth and development as well. Then cultural and social cohesion. Cultural and social cohesion is what we expect the higher education institutions to contribute. So higher education institutions, they contribute towards cultural and social fabric of the societies. So if you go to any of the university, so you will find students from all across the country, from the other countries as well. So there is cultural as well as social fabric of societies within the higher education institutions, and these institutions, they serve as a platform for diverse perspective, for fostering critical thinking and intellectual discourse. So you are having your viewpoint, and you learn how to present your viewpoint, and you learn how to respect the opposite viewpoint as well. That is the beauty of higher education institutions and higher education system. So here we need to train the students to develop diverse perspectives. We need to enable them to respect those diversity of perspective and the diversity of the people also, diversity of the perspectives also, and we need to make them understand that it is quite but natural. Diversity will prevail in terms of the individuals, in terms of the perspectives as well. And higher education institutions, they also need to help in fostering critical thinking, creative thinking, and of course intellectual discourse in the higher education institutions as well. So what distinguishes higher education from the school level education is, here the students are expected to be having higher order thinking skills, analytical ability, critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, diversity of the perspective, and the problem solving ability. However, one thing is to be kept in mind, the basic foundation of these higher order thinking skills, this should start right from the school level of education itself. Then in higher education system, students, they get exposure to variety of ideas, variety of cultures, and it of course helps in promoting the cooperation, tolerance, patience, inclusivity, kind of feeling that we all are one, we all are the same. So we have to be, the focus has to be on inclusive education, right? And so of course it will lead to social cohesion in the higher education students. So universities, they can play a very important role in preparing individuals to engage with a globally interconnected world, fostering a sense of global citizenship. So nowadays we are not confined to the one state university only, or to the national level universities only. So now the students, they are supposed to be prepared for the global interconnections, for the global collaborations, maybe in terms of for the research purpose, for the academic purpose, or maybe for the other professional purposes also. So thereby the need of the hour is to foster, to develop a sense of global citizenship among the students, irrespective of the culture, the race, irrespective of the state and the country as well. So need of the hour is to develop a sense of global citizenship among the students. So this will lead into cultural and social cohesion in the higher education institutions or the universities. Then civic engagement and responsible citizenship is what the universities are supposed to teach the students. Higher education, it instills the value of civic responsibility, and it encourages active participation in society. So there are many students those who get admitted to university, they become quite active. They participate in n number of activities, NSCC, NSS, Red Cross, or any other youth activity. They always participate. So it helps in developing the different values of civic responsibility, and it helps in becoming an active member of the society. And the graduate students, they are developing the skills, different types of skills, such as analytical skills, critical thinking, critically analyzing information, then responsible decision making, and different type of civic activities as a result of these kind of active participation in society. and within the higher education institution as well. So then cultivation of responsible citizenship is very important when we talk about the functioning of democracy. India, as we all know, it is the largest democracy, one of the largest democracy in the world. And if we want this democracy to function well, we need to have the young generation with responsible citizenship, which will ultimately result into development of an informed and engaged populace. So if the young generation, I was talking about the demographic dividend in the previous session, so if that demographic dividend is to be reaped, that rich demographic dividend is to be reaped, we need to skill that, we need to develop enough skill among that young generation. Plus, we need to make them informed and responsible as well. Informed, responsible, and even engaged also, so that we can cultivate responsible and the citizenship among the students. So, civic engagement and responsible citizenship, it is part of the higher education system. These qualities students learn when they actively participate in different types of activities. Then addressing the global challenges, as we all know, in this era of globalization, privatization, and liberalization, cross border movement has become quite easy. So higher education institution, they play a very important role when it comes to addressing the global challenges. The whole world is facing these challenges, such as climate change, public health crisis. Recently we have witnessed the COVID-19 era, and now we are in the new normal, the post-COVID situation, right? And of course, social inequalities, they are part of the Indian society, they are part of our social fabric. So while addressing these challenges, higher educations, they are expected to play a very important role, and we can resolve these issues with the help of interdisciplinary research, interdisciplinary collaboration across the borders, and development of solutions to these new kind of situations, new kind of problems as well. So higher education is going to always play an important role in terms of research, in terms of innovation as well. And universities, they are at the forefront when it comes to knowledge creation, when it comes to developing the expertise which is needed to confront and mitigate these challenges. I tell you, during the COVID period, vaccination was one thing that was that was most researched upon. Second thing was these teaching learning online research tools. Teaching learning online tools, they were the second thing which were most researched upon during the COVID-19 period. So in order to confront these challenges, in order to resolve these challenges, we can always carry out advanced research, collaborative research, and ultimately will be able to contribute towards the betterment of the global community. So we want the whole world has become a global village, the global community. So when we are talking about the betterment of the global community, then we all need to join hands together, irrespective of the country, irrespective of the borders, and we need to work for the welfare of the human race. So addressing global challenges is another important responsibility of higher education institutions. Then challenges and critiques. So there are many challenges, many types of critiques is being done as far as higher education is concerned. Higher education has got immense transformative potential. We can bring about lots of change in the society. We can bring about lots of change in the young generation with the help of transformative potential of higher education system. But always there are going to be issues of accessibility, affordability, and inclusivity. They limit the benefit of higher education to certain segments of the society. So certain people, they are devoid of higher education or good quality higher education, and there are issues of accessibility, affordability, and inclusivity. Similarly, there are concerns regarding relevance of curricula, the impact of technology on traditional teaching methods we just discussed in the previous session, and issues of liberalization, privatization, globalization, commercialization of education. So these are the questions we all need to try to find the answers, and we need to focus on the future direction of higher education. What next is going to happen? So accordingly, we need to redesign, we need to transform the higher education system. So, going through these various aspects of higher education, we can always say that higher education is playing a very important role. It is shaping the society. It is contributing towards the economical development of our country. And so far, the landscape of higher education, this has undergone many changes, significant changes, and it will always continue to be a dynamic and evolving sector. So we started from the ancient. Let's have a look at that again. Just to recapitulate the things, how the existing higher education system, this came into existence. We started from ancient education system, then came the colonial influence, then post-independence reforms came, then expansion and diversification till 1980s, then economic reforms and globalization till 90s, then autonomy and accreditation, then information technology boom 2000 onwards, then research and innovation, then followed by skill development initiatives. Now we are in the era of policy reforms in terms of National Education Policy, NEP 2020. Any questions so far? So, in nutshell, we can conclude that higher education will always play a crucial role in shaping the society and bringing about economic growth and development, and it's going to be a dynamic and ever-evolving sector. So there are certain key aspects which we can consider when talking about higher education and its impact on society. So till now we were talking about higher education and society, now impact of society on higher education. So the first issue that comes into my mind is access and inclusivity. Ours is a country which is having diversity of cultures, diversity of language, diversity of people all across the country. So India has made progress in increasing access to higher education. Of course, we are focusing on increasing the gross enrollment ratio to 50% by the year 2030. Right now, we are around 30%. And India has made significant progress in increasing access to higher education. New education institutions, they have come up. There has been diversification of courses. More and more professional courses, they have come up. But still, there are issues, there are challenges regarding inclusivity. Who is still devoid of higher education? So we need to include one and all when it comes to higher education, especially those who are from the socially disadvantaged sections of the society, those who are from the marginalized background, and which are actually facing barriers in accessing quality education. So whichever policy is there are going to be three issues always in the Indian context: the quality, the access, and the equity. So access, quality, equity, both, all the three issues, they are going to be pertinent throughout. So we need to focus on access and inclusivity. Then quality of education is important. We are opening new institutions, higher education institutions, they are coming up. There has been a large number of higher education institutions. But when we focus on expansion, when we focus on increasing the number of institutions, ultimately this is going to dilute the quality of education which is being provided in these institutions. So that affects badly. And that has, there has been significant deterioration of quality of education, whether it's medical education, technical education, or it's teacher education. So some universities and colleges which are globally recognized for their academic excellence, and there are certain other which are facing challenges in terms of infrastructure, faculty, quality, and outdated curricula. So there is huge disparity. So we need to make efforts to bridge that diversity as well, that disparity as well, so that the institutions, whatever institution it is, it has to be an institution of excellence in itself, whether it's a medical institution or engineering institution or any other teacher education institution. So quality is the watchword ultimately. Then role in economic development. Higher education, we all know, it contributes significantly to skill development, to knowledge creation, to the country's economic growth and development also. Why? Because we are trying to produce skilled workforce, we are trying to create new knowledge, we are trying to foster innovation, and all these aspects taken together, they will help in countries' economic growth and development. Now, there has been much emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education also. And if you look at the courses which are being served by the private universities, majority of the courses, they are these STEM courses only, they are the professional courses. So these courses, they are in demand, and they are they're rapidly advancing the technological landscape. So thereby the process of economic development, this is fastened, this is facilitated with the help of higher education institutions. So skill development, as we all know, we talked about the skill deficit, we talked about the skill gap, and the job market is ever evolving, this is ever changing, and it requires the graduate students to possess not the academic knowledge but also the practical skills, from where we started our discussion. So simply possessing the academic degree, the academic knowledge, or certain percentage of marks or grades, that is not sufficient today. You need to possess the requisite, the relevant skills also, the practical skills, hands-on skills also. So there has been focus in the recent past on skill development and vocational training or vocational courses, which ultimately help in developing employability and entrepreneurship among the graduate students. So these vocational courses, skill development courses, obviously they are going to help in enhancing the employability and developing entrepreneurship skills among the graduates. So employability skills means you are trying to get into some suitable job. Entrepreneurship skill means you are trying to open up something, maybe a startup, or maybe a proper kind of your own independent work or your own business, where you are trying to create a job for yourself and you are trying to create a job for others also. So developing entrepreneurship skill among the graduate students, this is equally important. It should be focused in the current scenario. So ultimately, the skill development, again, this is going to facilitate the process of economic growth and development. Then research and innovation, these are the watchwords for the higher education institutions, especially the universities. Research and innovation, they are critical for the progress of any society. We cannot deny the fact. And India has been pioneering in many fields, but still there is much investment which is needed on research and development. As part of NEP 2020, there has been a focus on National Research Foundation. So that is going to certainly that is going to prove as a milestone the establishment of National Research Foundation for enhancing the research and development, R&D. Then what else is needed is collaboration between academia and industry, so that the research which we carry out in the higher education institutions and the universities, the one which is carried out by the academia in the labs, so that it is translated into the practical applications by the industry. So there is a need to join hands with the industry for translating the researches we carry out into practical applications. So that is the focus of research and innovation. Then India being a developing nation, we face challenges in governance and funding as well. So many issues we face on the front of human resources, in terms of the financial resources as well. So there are governance issues, there are bureaucratic hurdles, we all know. There are limitations for funding, there are constraints for funding, and there are challenges, n number of other challenges which are being faced by higher education institutions. So this all needs reforms in governance structure, then increase the funding so that we can maintain, or we are able to provide good quality higher education to our young generation, and they are able to develop the requisite kind of skill set for contributing to the course of process of national development. So need of the hour is to address the issues of governance structures and enhanced funding when it comes to higher education. Obviously, in NEP 2020, we are talking about the interdisciplinary approach, we are talking about the multidisciplinary approach. So, we are focusing on the diversity of courses, and diverse courses is what is demanded as of now. The courses which are beyond the traditional fields like engineering and medicine. So, there are interdisciplinary courses, then recognition of liberal arts, social sciences, and other interdisciplinary studies. The social sciences are equally important. The liberal arts are equally important, as we give due importance to engineering, science, or these medicine. So, for all-round development of the individual, for a well-rounded education system, for a balanced education system, we need to recognize the importance of these disciplines as well. So, only then we'll be able to provide the diverse courses and be able to reach that recommendation of NEP 2020, that there has to be interdisciplinarity, there has to be multidisciplinarity. Then globalization and internationalization, we cannot do away with it. So there has been growing emphasis on globalization and internationalization of higher education in India. Foreign universities, they are coming up to India to open their campuses. There are faculty exchange programs, there are student exchange programs, there are collaborations with the foreign universities, and we are trying to attract the international students to our own campuses also, so that they are able to contribute to a more globally connected educational landscape. So it's both ways. We are trying to attract the foreign campuses, foreign universities to our own nation, to our own landscape. And the students, they are, as part of the faculty exchange, as part of the student exchange program, they are visiting the universities abroad as well. So this kind of exposure, this global exposure, the international exposure, this adds a lot to the growth and development of the individual. Then digital transformation, of course, we are living in the digital era. Now, digital transformation, this has gained momentum, especially during the COVID period with the advent of online learning platforms. So these days we talk about the hybrid learning, mode of learning, we talk about the blended mode of learning, we talk about flipped learning. So although there are both positive and negative aspects when we are using too much of technology in the classroom, but still we cannot help it, digital transformation, because we all have that, gadget in our hands, the mobile in our hands, and we cannot do away about it. We cannot do away with it. So this digital transformation, this resulted into increased access to education. And there are concerns about quality of the online learning experiences also. We all have been we all have struggled with that quality of online learning experiences during the COVID-19, when we shifted to the online mode of teaching learning completely from the offline mode. So that shift has not been easy for the teachers, for the students as well. And the similar shift when we shifted back from offline to online, that has also not been so easy or comfortable for all of us. So using the technology or using digital education, digital transformation, this has both pros and cons, but we cannot do away with it. It has become part and parcel of our life. So better we use it for giving quality online learning experiences to our students whenever and wherever possible. So on the whole, if we, whatever we have discussed in the context of NEP 2020, in the context of higher education and society and the impact of society on education. So overall, what we can conclude is higher education is ever evolving and dynamic and transformative force that extends beyond the mere transmission of knowledge. So in the ancient times, in the previous times, the only focus of higher education system was transmission of knowledge from one generation to another. But nowadays, the system is more dynamic. It is more transformative in the context of digital education, digital tools, in the context of globalization, liberalization, privatization, and different types of other reforms as well. So we are headed towards a new era of higher education, particularly after the policy reforms as suggested by NEP 2020. So its impact on society is multifaceted. It influences the economic development, it influences the social cohesion and global problem solving also. So society impacts the higher education system and higher education system impacts the society. So it's both ways, right? So as societies, they are ever evolving, they are ever changing. Similarly, role of higher education in shaping the future, this becomes increasingly vital. So society is changing, higher education system will also transform itself and will try to play the relevant role, the requisite role in the growth and development of the society, economic growth and development of the nation as well. So there are many challenges we just discussed, the issue of inclusivity, affordability, then accessibility, then quality. So these issues were there and these will remain. But the thing is, we have to join hands together in order to overcome these issues and challenges as the teachers in higher education system. So addressing challenges and fostering inclusivity are imperative, are important so as to ensure the benefits of higher education, they are accessible to all. So it has to be all inclusive. So nobody should be left behind, irrespective of the caste, creed, gender, or sex. So ultimately, we have to contribute, the system has to contribute towards the betterment of the individual and the society as a whole. So what we are, where we are headed to, or what we are expecting a civic society, we are expecting a balanced and a tolerant society. So that is what we expect. So thank you so much for your patient listening. Now the house is open for discussion. We can take up few questions if you have. Not just the questions, we can have few observations from all of you. Yes, please, anything you want to ask? Yes, now the house is open for discussion. Dr. Anuradha, you may take up.
Yes, ma'am. Any observations? Any queries? Yes.
Yes, Seema ji. She has raised her hand. आप अपना एज अ हायर एजुकेशन टीचर अपना भी एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कीजिए. व्हाट हैज बीन योर एक्सपीरियंस एज अ स्टूडेंट एंड एज अ टीचर? थैंक यू दीपक जी. यस अनुराधा मैम, आपसे शुरू करते हैं. व्हाट हैज बीन योर एक्सपीरियंस एज अ स्टूडेंट? आपको लगता है कि जब आप स्टूडेंट थे, अब आप टीचर हो, कुछ टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस का कुछ चेंज है और थिंग्स आर गोइंग एट द सेम पेस?
मैम काफी चेंज है. जैसे मैंने डिफरेंट स्कूल से एजुकेशन ली है, जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल से भी ली है, प्राइवेट स्कूल से भी ली है. बट उस टाइम जैसे इतना ज्यादा मतलब
I'm just asking you to compare your experience as a student and now your experience as a teacher. एज अ स्टूडेंट आपकी क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन थी अपने टीचर से, और एज अ टीचर क्या आप वो एक्सपेक्टेशन पूरी कर पा रहे हो, और थिंग्स आर गोइंग एट द सेम पेस? दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट टू आस्क.
नहीं मैम, थोड़ा चेंज तो है. जैसे पहले हम डिजिटल चीजों का यूज नहीं करते थे, जैसे आप पीपीटी के थ्रू भी पढ़ा रहे हैं हम, या ऑनलाइन मेथड्स का भी यूज कर रहे हैं. और पहले तो यही था कि जब एज अ स्टूडेंट जब मैंने पढ़ा है तो लेक्चर मेथड ही होता था, या बुकिश लैंग्वेज ही होती थी, या क्रैमिंग ही करवाते थे.
जी।
बट अब नहीं है, अब ये है कि टूल्स के थ्रू और टेक्निक्स के थ्रू टीचिंग थोड़ा इजी हो गई है। और मतलब अब कोरोना के बाद से तो हम बहुत सारी चीजों का यूज करने लग गए हैं।
Do we have been able to make a shift from passive teaching methods to participative teaching methods?
यस मैम, पार्टिसिपेशन में अब ये है कि जैसे
और कोई, if anybody else wants to respond, do we have been able to make a shift from passive teaching methods to participative teaching methods जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट ज्यादा एक्टिव हैं? कोई टीचर हो ऐसा जो अपनी क्लास में ऐसे मेथड्स यूज करता हो, और वी आर कंफर्टेबल विद दिस चॉक एंड टॉक मेथड ओनली? चलिए अनुराधा जी, आप ही बताइए।
मैम जैसे कोरोना का जो टाइम आया था तो उसमें हमने जैसे गूगल क्लासरूम टेक्निक का यूज किया, और उसमें जैसे क्विजेस और क्वेश्चनेयर्स के थ्रू स्टूडेंट्स से हमने रिस्पांस लिए, तो वो पार्टिसिपेटरी की तरफ थोड़ा सा मुझे लगता है कि टेक्निक्स के थ्रू। और ये भी है कि जैसे मैं सेकेंड ईयर में पढ़ाती हूँ इंडियन पॉलिटिकल थिंकर्स, तो अगर मैं उसको स्क्रीन पे दिखाती हूँ कोई भी, जैसे भगत सिंह जी हैं उनकी वीडियो, तो वो बच्चे ज्यादा सीख पाते हैं कि बजाय कि लेक्चर मेथड के थ्रू।
बिल्कुल।
तो ये चीज है मैम, थोड़ा सा चेंज तो हुआ है मैम।
मोर चेंज इज नीडेड।
जी
मैम, मैं आई?
जी बोलिए।
मैम एक्चुअली इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी काफी इंपॉर्टेंस रखता है। तो अगर गवर्नमेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर या इनिशिएटिव्स, ग्रांट्स सभी टीचर्स को प्रोवाइड करे,
जी, जैसे
इंस्टीट्यूशंस टाइमली उनको अवेयरनेस और टू एनहांस देयर टेक्निक, ये इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी से रिलेटेड उनकी स्किल्स को एनहांस करने के लिए ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स जो हैं वो प्रोवाइड करें, तो डेफिनेटली। और एक मैम ये भी है कि आजकल स्टूडेंट का इंटरेस्ट क्या है, ठीक है, उनका अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर इंटरेस्ट भी टीचर को मोल्ड होना चाहिए। आजकल क्लासरूम में टीचर्स भी बहुत डिस्टर्ब होते हैं जब वो फोन वगैरह यूज करते हैं, तो समवेयर कहीं ना कहीं हमें स्टूडेंट्स के लिए भी ऐसी गाइडलाइंस इन फ्यूचर रखनी चाहिए कि दे शुड नॉट यूज द फोन्स इन द क्लासरूम।
देखो, यहाँ पे मैं डिफर करती हूँ मैं आपसे। देखो, मोबाइल इज सच ए डिवाइस विच इज अवेलेबल विद ऑल ऑफ अस, स्टूडेंट है चाहे टीचर है ना? तो देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ मोबाइल लर्निंग ऑल्सो। यू कैन यूज मोबाइल एज एन एजुकेशनल डिवाइस इन योर क्लासरूम, राइट? सो मेरी क्लास में आई डोंट आस्क द स्टूडेंट्स के मोबाइल नहीं यूज करना, राइट? दे हैव द मोबाइल। जो कुछ भी मैंने करवाना है तो मैं इस तरीके से कई बार इनिशिएट करने की कोशिश करती हूँ कि चलो आप अपने अपने मोबाइल पे चेक करो और मेरे को पढ़ के बताओ कि ये एक्चुअली कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है, देन वी विल स्टार्ट विद द लेक्चर। सो वी कैन टेक द हेल्प ऑफ, आई मीन यू हैव टू बी क्रिएटिव इनफ। मोबाइल यूज करने से हम रोक ही नहीं सकते मैम बच्चों को। It has become such a part and parcel of our life, but of course we can use the concept of mobile learning in our classrooms. Okay. Yeah. Any other observation?
मैम, मैं एक बात शेयर करना चाहती हूँ आपसे कि पीपीटी से जब हम पढ़ाते हैं ना, तो मुझे एज ए टीचर मेरा जो एक्सपीरियंस है पिछले कुछ सालों का, नेगेटिव इफेक्ट्स बहुत ज्यादा हुए हैं। कि जैसे बच्चों को हमने डिजिटली समझाया तो बच्चे कहते हैं मैम आप ना प्लीज इसको शेयर भी कर देना, और जैसे हमने ग्रुप्स बना रखे हैं या फिर हमने गूगल क्लासरूम बना रखे हैं तो हम सारा मटेरियल उनको शेयर करते हैं। बट जब मैं उनसे कभी कोई टेस्ट लिया या मैंने कभी भी नोट्स के लिए या जिस भी तरीके से प्रिपरेशन करवा के देखा, तो वो बच्चे उसी तक लिमिटेड है मैम, उससे ज्यादा ना कुछ एक्सप्लोर करते हैं। एज इट इज होता मैम, अगर मैं उसको बोलूँ ना कि आपको असाइनमेंट सबमिट कराना है।
डिवाइसेस की मैडम सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम यही है कि वो डिजिटल फॉर्म में ही रह जाता, सारा कुछ दिमाग में नहीं आ पाता।
यस, दूसरा मैम एज ए टीचर जो मैं फील करती हूँ, मैं पिछले लगातार 7-8 साल से पीजी पढ़ा रही हूँ, मतलब पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन की क्लासेस हैं, और मैं पीपीटी से पढ़ाती हूँ। ऐसी आदत हो गई है कि अगर मैं लाइट चली जाए बीच में और हमारा प्रोजेक्टर वह सब बंद हो जाए, तो मैं सच बता रही हूँ आपको, चलो ठीक है टॉपिक को हम रीस्टार्ट कर लेते हैं, बट एक टाइम तक सारे जो आंकड़े होते हैं वो स्किप हो जाते हैं। ये हो जाता है कि कुछ टूट गया है और वो रिदम बन ही नहीं पाती। ये भी एक बहुत कड़वी सच्चाई है जो एज ए टीचर मैं फील कर पा रही हूँ इस चीज को।
लिमिटेशन है इस चीज की ना।
दूसरा मैं एक और बहुत ही हार्ड आज का ही एक्सपीरियंस बताती हूँ। मैं आज मॉर्निंग में यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रैक्टिकल लेके आई हूँ मॉर्निंग आवर्स में, तो मैंने 51 मैं गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज हिसार से हूँ, बट यूनिवर्सिटी में एग्जाम था तो वो लेके आई। 51 स्टूडेंट्स को मैंने जो है आज मतलब प्रैक्टिकल लिया। आप यकीन नहीं करेंगे, 8 एक्सरसाइजेस थी सिर्फ उनकी, और मैंने अपने लेवल पे ये आज ऑब्जर्वेशन करी है, और 51 में से नियर अबाउट 36 स्टूडेंट को जो है वो चश्मा लगा हुआ था। और जब मैंने उनसे पूछा कि ये टॉपिक आपने नहीं किया, तो बोले मैम ये एक्चुअल में ना मिला नहीं कहीं पे, ये ऐसे करके। जबकि मैंने वैसे ही नॉर्मली पूछा कि भाई आप लोग फोन का कितना यूज करते हो, तो बोले मैम फोन इज अ पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ। होस्टलर थे मैम ज्यादातर। मैं कहा बेटा फिर खुद भी सर्च कर सकते हो, तो सब कुछ अवेलेबल है आपके पास। तो वो कम से कम मतलब कितना लगाऊं मैं, 6-7 घंटे तो हर बच्चे ने बताया, जबकि वो झूठ ही होगा, उससे ज्यादा ही टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं फोन पे 24/7। तो उसमें से उस टाइम का आप यूं देखिए कि उन्होंने यूज कहाँ किया, जबकि सबको चश्मा आज की स्टेज पर लगा हुआ है। मतलब आप लगा लीजिए कि 22-20 तक के भी स्टूडेंट नहीं है।
हाँ, आपने बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट रेज किया है। मेरी एक स्टूडेंट ने रिसर्च करी है इसी टॉपिक पे, इंटरनेट यूसेज अमंग यूनिवर्सिटी स्टूडेंट्स। व्हाट शी हैज कम अप इज कि स्टूडेंट्स दे आर यूजिंग इंटरनेट, दे आर यूजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, but they are using for the social and entertainment purposes only, not for the academic purposes.
Yes ma'am.
तो ये
पता नहीं चीज को क्या नॉलेज समझ बैठे मैम, वो उसको कॉन्फिडेंट फील करते हैं, बल्कि कॉन्फिडेंट फील करते हैं कि आपको इतना फोन में और ये चीजें सीख के।
वो एक्चुअली एक स्टेटस सिंबल बन गया ना मैम। कितना बड़ा मोबाइल रखा हुआ है आपने, कौन सा आपका डेटा कनेक्शन फास्ट है नहीं। रेणु शर्मा मैडम जो बोल रहे थे ना, तो हेयर कम्स द जॉब ऑफ द टीचर, हेयर कम्स द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द टीचर के बच्चों को देखो, इट इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट टू प्रोवाइड द डिजिटल डिवाइस इन द हैंड्स ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स. What is more important is to orient the students how to use that digital device for academic purpose, for educational purpose. वो orientation हम दे ही नहीं पाते, कहीं है नहीं हमारे सिस्टम में, स्कोप ही नहीं है
जी,
है ना। तो स्टूडेंट्स they keep on wasting their time, even they are not aware the kind of loss, the kind of damage they are doing to their own lives, isn't it?
यस मैम। और मैम ऐसे हो गए अब तो, मतलब बच्चे इतने रिजिड से हो गए कि अगर उनको कुछ समझाए ना तो जब डांटने तक का भी असर नहीं होता, मतलब एक अजीब सी जोन में चले गए। वो जो सेंसिटिवनेस होती थी ना, वो बहुत हद तक इस फोन ने बिल्कुल उनको ऐसा बना दिया कि वो कम हो गई। अब
मैं तो बोलती हूँ, मेरा बेटा है, मैं देखती हूँ यंग जनरेशन को, आई ऑलवेज टेल देम कि आप सब तो रोबोट बन गए
जी,
यू आर ऑलरेडी इनटू दैट रोबोट मोड।
यस मैम।
खाने का नहीं पता।
तो आप जैसे अब कह रहे हैं ना मैम कि अभी जो हमारा मतलब टीचिंग, उसमें हम टीचर्स को डिफरेंट टाइप के डिजिटल यूज करना चाहिए, मतलब जो हमारे वो है। बट मैं अब मेरे पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से बता रही हूँ कि कुछ टाइम बाद मुझे ज्यादा से फ्रूटफुल से रिजल्ट्स नजर नहीं आए जितना मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है।
व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू एम्फसाइज इज के देखो, कोई एक स्टैंडर्ड इसका सोल्यूशन नहीं है, कोई एक स्टैंडर्ड पैडागोजी नहीं है। We have to create mix and match as per the needs of the students, as per the level of the students, है ना। अगर फोन देखो, मैं कहूँ कि ब्लेंडेड लर्निंग मैंने करानी है एंड यू डोंट हैव इंटरनेट, यू डोंट हैव द डिजिटल डिवाइसेस, तो क्या करोगे आप? सो जो बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी होना चाहिए, willingness of the teacher to use these innovative pedagogies भी होना चाहिए, and plus we have to watch the interest and the level of the students also. That is more important, who are at the receiving end.
Yes ma'am.
है ना। बट माई पॉइंट इज आई एम ऑलवेज ऑफ द व्यू कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ चॉक एंड टॉक मेथड पे डिपेंडेंट होके हम उस चीज को ना कैरी फॉरवर्ड करें। वेरेवर
पार्टिसिपेशन मैम, या जी, स्टूडेंट पार्टिसिपेशन है, उसके बहुत सारे तरीके हो सकते हैं मैम।
जी, वेनेवर एंड वेरेवर पॉसिबल वी हैव टू सीक द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स. We have to give certain situations to the students where they are made to think. I'm again emphasizing, teaching is not telling, teaching is to make the students think. अगर हमने स्टूडेंट के हायर ऑर्डर थिंकिंग स्किल्स डेवलप करने हैं, उनकी थिंकिंग एबिलिटी डेवलप करनी है, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी डेवलप करनी है, उनको एक इंडिपेंडेंट ह्यूमन बीइंग, इंडिपेंडेंट डिसीजन मेकर, रिस्पॉन्सिबल सिटीजन बनाना है, So
Yes,
we have to,
responsible word. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, we
Yeah.
all need to join hands together, and we have to make these efforts. And these efforts, they should start right from the school level. ये नहीं कि बच्चा
Yes.
एडल्ट रोल में आ गया और हायर एजुकेशन में आ गया, आप फिर उसका कुछ
Yes.
बनाना शुरू करोगे. नो, the
No. Yes,
foundation
ma'am.
has to be laid down right from the school level itself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that
Ma'am,
was the point. Yeah,
मैम
there is
एक
some-
पॉइंट और
जी,
है मैम,
जी.
मतलब कि टीचर को इतना हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ेगा, इतना ज्यादा
Yes.
कि अगर 1 घंटे का लेक्चर है तो इतनी टीचिंग लेक्चर इतना इंटरेस्टेड होना चाहिए कि
जी.
स्टूडेंट का जो ध्यान है वो डाइवर्ट ही ना हो.
जी, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
इतना लेक्चर इंफॉर्मेटिव होना चाहिए
Yeah.
और उसके लिए
So-
बहुत हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ेगा टीचर.
Yes, so teaching is such a responsible profession, you know, and the onus lies on our generation, we the teachers of higher education. So we have to initiate that change.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, anybody else who wants to give the observation or put up some point? Any of your observation, or you want to share your own experience as a teacher? Yes, anybody? यस डॉक्टर सुरेंद्र सिंह जी, रमिला जी, आप बताइए कुछ. I think there are no further points that we can take up. So before we close the session, I extend my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to Professor Shefali Markar for extending this invitation, and Dr. Pavan ji, who is the co-coordinator of this session, and Dr. Anuradha Nagia, who is the chairperson of this session. Thank you, all of you. Thanks to all the participants for your patient listening. So I hand over the session to Dr. Pavan ji.
हेलो.
Hello, yes sir.
सुन पा रहे हैं आप?
जी 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 बिल्कुल.
पार्टिसिपेंट को ऑब्जर्वेशन डाउट इसलिए ले रहा है क्योंकि आपने बखूबी इतना अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करा.
Thank you so much.
कि आपके आपने अपने कोर्स रखे हैं दोनों.
It's been really interesting. It's been quite interactive, and मैंने भी बहुत observations नई मेरे पास आई हैं, नए context आए हैं. Even I enjoyed interacting with this particular group of participants. Thanks everyone.
ज्ञानपीठ एक चौराहा है तो सभी पार्टिसिपेंट की तरफ से मैम और स्पेशली शिफाली मैम की तरफ से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने समय दिया, और आगे यही करते हैं कि आप आगे भी हमें अपना जो है मार्गदर्शन देते रहेंगे मैम. बहुत धन्यवाद.
बिल्कुल.
अब मैं पार्टिसिपेंट को इनवाइट करना चाहूँगा डॉक्टर प्रशांत को, तो डॉक्टर प्रशांत. डॉक्टर पंकज सर.
Good evening, everyone. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed resource person, Dr. Jagpreet, for sharing the valuable insights and expertise on the topic skill development. Ma'am, your enlightening presentation has enriched our knowledge and inspired us. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing your valuable time for enhancing our learning experience. We assure you that we will try to implement the changes as told by you in the teaching learning process. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Pankaj ji. Thanks, Dr. Pavan and Dr. Anuradha. Madam Shefali.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a
Madam
lot.
Shefali in absentia. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
आप सभी पार्टिसिपेंट
I'm leaving the session now. Yeah. Thank you.
आज बाकी बोलना चाहिए बेटा बताया अभी इसी लाइन में.
आपका भी धन्यवाद और डॉक्टर दादा जी का भी क्या आपको फीडबैक फॉर्म मिल चुका है?